is to investigate Nadine, who I've had a lot of experience with, obviously, and some of us others here have had as well. And what I've found hasn't been good. So I'm going to share that with you today, because even though I'll be talking this under camera for the purpose of River of Lies, I think we need to know the type of people that are actually in the employ of Stuff.com and in this building here today. As I say, she was invited, so when I make my criticism of her here today, she was given the opportunity to speak to the criticism I'm about to make of her in the background that I'm going to uncover. Okay, when I actually did investigate, I found a lot of the previous information about her background had been removed from various internet sites, so that's not surprising given that she knows she's gone down the rabbit hole with this evil government and sold herself out to the agenda and many other things. Okay, so she's been 20 years as an agricultural journalist. That's how she launched her career. She's got a farming background. She came from down south as a Southland. She married a, let's call it South Canterbury man, and Tim Porter. He looks like a decent sort of a bloke, and three lovely daughters. And he's currently residing or living in Chertsey, where he's a part-time farmer and farming contractor. Okay, so dear Nadine obviously fancies herself as being a businesswoman. She started up a chocolate business, which I believe is based in Geraldine. I think it lasted 4 or 5 years before it went tits up. In other words, she failed. She failed in the business. The chocolate business started in Geraldine, entered into liquidation in 2015, and struck off in 2016. So that was a wee bit unfortunate for Nadine Porter, the infamous Stuff.com reporter. The sad thing was that she got a Nuffield scholarship. Some of us might think, that sounds impressive, but unfortunately, when you look up the sponsorship of the Nuffield scholarship, it's backed by people that are part of this agenda at the moment. Dairy NZ, who have sold farmers out under this emissions tax scheme, which is a scam rather than a scheme, and Beef and Lamb, who are equally as bad and selling the farmers out under the same scheme. So off she went to Wales to work as an executive member of the Welsh Red Meat Promotion Board as part of this Nuffield scholarship. As part of that appointment, her quotation here is, "This position allows me to advance my views on the need for global messaging around red meat with the main players in the face of a complex and rapidly changing environment." The reason I'm actually telling you these things is because you'll soon realise that she's a globalist. She's been indoctrinated, bought off, whatever it is. She's part of the team. Effectively, we could say she's a UN puppet. A traitor to New Zealand farmers. She used the farming industry to launch a career as a reporter, and now I believe she's been bought and sold. Interestingly, while she was over there doing this role with the Wales Meat Promotion Board, she was noted as being a partner in a Pembrokeshire farm. I mean, we know that, and we suspect that people may be bought off or they're on the payroll or whatever it is. It seems a bit strange. Shot through from Chertsey, arrives in Wales, and now part owner in a Pembrokeshire farm. Maybe that's what happens. This may be what happens when you now become part of the global scheme or scam that you need to be looked after. But the story gets worse. She then took up a job with the UK government as an EU exit communications strategist within the ministerial department called DEFRA. That is the Department for Environment, Food and Rural Affairs. Now this is getting closer to what we all know, that they basically want to depopulate us, they want to reduce food supply, they want to create a government indebtedness, they want to cripple economies, and that's obviously why they're going after farmers at the moment, because they are the key to all of this. So in other words, as part of that role with the UK government, she was required to use the media to convince those within the UK that the exiting from the economic union was a good thing. Okay, whether that was a good thing or not, that's not the point. She learnt the skill of propaganda, how to convince through the media sources that something is a good thing rather than a bad thing. So she was well skilled by the time she came home in the year 2020. So using the media to brainwash, propagandise the public. I have no doubt in my mind that she was indoctrinated or brainwashed while she was over there. Between the Nuffield Scholarship, which is a globalist meat plan, probably designs that we're all eating crickets or whatever in years to come, and we drive farmers out of business in the meantime. And another thing I found on the internet was her comment, which is rather quite strange. Her interest stemmed from a comment she made in regards to broken food systems and developing a citizen-centric for a New Zealand food strategy. I mean, you start to get the gist of it. You start to understand that she's using all of the lingo that these crazy loonies behind the agenda use to try to convince us that this environmental sustainability nonsense is good for us. Whereas underneath it all, they want a good number of us dead and gone and depopulated. Essentially, I think what she was probably more involved with was the planning that we had food shortages in years to come. So in summary of Nadine, my good friend Nadine, who's obviously defamed me, Carl, Vicky, where are you? Yeah, Vicky, she's taking the day off today. She's been involved in something else important as well in Rangiora. Am I allowed to say Vicky or... No, we're all good. It's a wee bit of common law stuff to put the Waimak Council on notice, so they've got to start pulling their heads in. Okay, so not only is Nadine Porter a failed businesswoman and a failed wife, a failed mother of 3 lovely daughters down in Chertsey, and in my view she's a UN puppet as well. Launched a journalistic career on the back of the farming industry and is now traded to it. That's my summary of Nadine Porter, and I'm looking forward to seeing the other backgrounds of the people working for this organisation that I know Billy and his team are uncovering. People like Sunit Boucher, people like Paula Penfold, once a good person turned bad. So those are the ones that we're keen to hear about as well. But my job today was to uncover Nadine, who was given an opportunity to speak to the criticisms or the discoveries that I've made of her. Okay, you only had to look in the last week, you only had to look at Nadine's reporting of the groundswell protest last Thursday, where essentially she didn't mention what they were there for, very, very much in passing. She was more focused on it being a failure or a flop, or wanting it to be a failure or a flop, than giving credit to the farmers that turned up and came 20, 40, 50 kilometres with their tractors to line up at South Hackney Park there. So the woman has turned on the farming industry that once fed her. She's a traitor to her own people, and she's certainly a traitor to this country in covering up the lies, the evil program that this government has set out for us. So the question is, Nadine Porter fit to be a journalist? And the answer is obviously she's not. She feels qualified to name and defame good people that are far, far superior human beings to her. We know that, it's an obvious fact. And that's what sickens me, is that someone with no credibility like her, particularly the fact she's a runaway mother, is out there defaming good people and thinks that she can get away with it. I think it's going to bring me to my favourite poster down here. I think I can lift this one up, guys. I don't need more help. Now, the reason I find this one particularly worth bringing back out of the archives today is because these people up here hated it when it first appeared about 6 months ago. All right, they made a claim that this was not in Germany after the Nuremberg trial, where the hangings of the media and corrupt doctors and medical people were hung in response to the 7 million Jews who were murdered by Hitler. It was in another country. I think the point I'm going to make today, if they want to refer to it again, is it doesn't actually matter where it was. The fact is, that there will be a time where these people are brought to justice, and that includes the media. It does include the doctors. It includes the scientists who fake the figures, and they're in this cover-up currently that we know, and there will be a day of reckoning. So yeah, I remember when Nadine interviewed me, she said, so in other words, you're going to hang us when the day comes. And I said, because she was wanting to make me look like I was some lunatic who went around wanting to shoot people and hang people. And as I quite kindly said to her, no, I said, we're going to lock you away for the rest of your life. Even that would probably be too good for these people that have committed the crimes on humanity. Thanks for that, Vicky, that's awesome. I think nature wins on this one and it's trying to compete with it. Just before we finish up today, I'm going to invite Terry-Anna Williams to come up and speak to you. She's the founder of Freedom Village. I met Terry-Anna the other day for the first time, a beautiful lady, and I'm going to ask Terry-Anna to address us people towards the end of our show today.